G'day all, welcome back to Frostbite's GI JOE Repro. I've received, a few figures recently and they've all had their little quirks. But today we're going to look at this V2 Gung Ho. So when I purchased it via an online auction from the Misfits group, it had some real good colour. So, it's got a little crack in the elbow, no crack in that elbow, still got his crotch, and still had this peg. That was probably the biggest thing that I noticed about it. That's the thing that actually made me want to purchase it, was just noting that in most of these, that's missing. Paint, not great, but we're going to fix that today. And, looking this up, I didn't actually realize that he's supposed to have decals. So this figure actually came with decals to put onto his arms. I don't know of any other Joe figures that actually had that. But yeah, let's do some work on him. So first thing I noticed, and first thing I always check for, is the band. And as you can see, she's ready to be brought out. So let's get that out. So that come out nice and easy. Give him a spin, and it all comes apart. And yeah, that band has done its job, and it's now time to retire that. So let's get this on, this through there. So interestingly enough, I did own this figure probably a year and a half ago, and I didn't sort of like it back then. So someone was looking for one, and I just thought, whatever, just sell it. So up until about 2 months ago, I've been on the search for another one, and they don't really come up that often. And when they do come up, they're varying degrees of condition. So when I saw this pop up, I just thought, you know what, I need that guy, and let's just get him. Okay, here he goes. Excellent. That's how he should be. Nice and tight frame. Okay, so that's the O-ring out of the way. Now, let's look at giving him a little bit of paint. Because he just blatantly he doesn't need much, just some touch-ups. Just some touch-ups. So things of note straight away is the emblem up here, that emblem there, and his belt. A little bit of wear there, we'll fix that hat up. There is a bit of white rubbing here, but I'm not gonna touch that. I might just leave that. White is notoriously a bit painful. Just to match up the right white and getting it on. All right, so let's start with a bit of black on that hat rim first. So as I've mentioned in the past, I use Citadel paints. They're available for me from my local nerd shop, and they cost, last time I bought one, they were about $6.50. So not very expensive to get what you need. And for me, they're a fast drying paint that I've only been happy with. So yeah, so we'll give this a big shake. Thanks very much for tuning into this video. Really love that you guys take a bit of time just to spend listening to my droning voice and, you know, just watching the menial crap that I'm doing, but it makes me happy, and I hope it makes you happy as well. So we'll just keep that water out of the way, open this paint up, put him there. The thing I like about these Citadels too is they have this little sort of capture bay here that when you shake it up, it puts a little bit of paint in there. So it's sort of like you don't have to go right into the container for it. So we just wet our brush a little bit. I'm using a really, really fine brush for this one. I think it's the finest I've got. Mentioned in the past videos as well, some people don't like figures being touched up with paint. And to that I say, each to their own. If it's your figure and you never intend on selling it, then let me assure you that you can do whatever the hell you like with it. And no one can tell you differently. I've got to hit a nice bit of wet paint there. If you get it and you know you're going to sell it, then it becomes a choice. Noting that some people don't like their figures touched up with paint, as long as you're openly honest with people and just let them know, hey, you know, this was in bad condition, so I fixed it up, then just let them make the choice then. So he's got a little bit of boot scuffing there. Let's fix that up as well. Once, you know, these figures generally, like, they're so old, they've had a pretty good life. They've been played with a fair bit. Like, why can't you just make them look good again? Okay, and like that, all the black on this V2 Gung Ho is complete. So that's good. Now we're going to go ahead and touch up his just the goldy type parts. For this, I'm going to use this as a base. So when you use the Citadel paints, they get broken up into various classifiers. So this one's a base. You'll get ones like this that are a layer. The layers are just like a thinner version, a thinner paint, whereas the base is a heavier version, and you always want to try and start with a base. You know, generally start with a base and then come over the top with a layer if the base isn't the ideal color for you. Okay, so let's look at this belt buckle. So to get this done, I've got, I'm using the Yo Joe site. I've got a big ass picture of V2 Gung Ho in front of me, so I know exactly how it should look. Oh man, his buttons, they should be colored as well. Okay. So this color, it's a brass color. So I'm using it as a base because otherwise, you know, if I use a yellow base, it might come out too yellow. So I'm going to try this. I think for the belt, this will actually be the perfect color, but let's have a look. So according to the picture, the whole thing is done. Let's get these arms out of the way. Okay, sorry I had to stop talking during that because despite all the man jokes, I cannot talk while I'm doing the fine edging. That has come out beautiful. I'm loving that. So the good thing about this paint is once you paint that, you give it about 30 seconds with some air on it and it'll be dry. So if I wanted to repaint over it, it'd be fine. Okay, so let's get this emblem done up here. That's his airborne emblem, his parachute qualification. I think that looks great. All right, now the part I was a bit sort of edgy about. Let's touch this hat emblem a little bit and see what happens. So another good thing about this paint is if you muff it up, just wipe it off. Just immediately wipe it off and everything's gonna be fine. Got a fan blowing right on me, so it's sort of, I need to get it done quickly, otherwise it just automatically dries it. Okay, that's a bit better. Just turning it around, I couldn't see some of the badge. Turning it around, I can see it now. All right. I think that's come out great. Much better than what he was. So what we might do, just for the purposes of showing you how good this paint is, so we've chucked that base on now. So let's chuck a gold layer on. So for that, I'm going to use this one, Auric Armor Gold. It must have stuff in it that likes to separate, so you know, I always have to give it a really good shake. Much better than any of the others, just to get this stuff mixed back in. So you can see like that's starting to mix a lot better now. See, it's got that beautiful gold shine that we're looking for. So for this, let's go in the order that we painted it. So we did the belt buckle first. And then he's airborne. And then his hat badge. Pretty hilarious. You spend more time shaking the pot up than you do actually taking paint out of it. But whatevs. Okay. So yes. Just wondering whether we hit that or not. Seems to be pretty good. Actually, I had to check Yojo as well, because I was looking at his hair on the back, and it's very light. And I thought it was paint loss, but it's just actually how his hair is, surprisingly. So there you go. Gung Ho is back in dress inspection order. So let's have a look. So just a bit of information. He's from Series 6, 1987. He was sold also in 1988 and discontinued domestically in 1989. Apparently leftover Hasbro stock of this figure was packaged with new accessories and sold at an early GI Joe convention. And when you actually check the variations, So apparently the GI Joe convention release come with the 2 weapons that come with the Night Creepers, the V1 Night Creepers, which I just find like very weird. Why would they come with that weapon? So the construction of the body was all original. His head and his dress hat are 2 separately molded pieces held together with glue. While some hats can be removed from the head, more often than not this results in damage to the head, the hat, or both. For those curious, Yo Joe has included an image showing Gung Ho's head with his dress hat removed, showing sculpted but unpainted hair. This is fantastic. Get onto Yo Joe and check this out. He's actually got hair underneath the hat, and it's just unpainted. Like, it's great. It's a great photo. Him without a hat is cool. They should have made that an accessory. I'm not going to pull that off. That would be a bad idea, I think. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope you can just watch this video, and if you've got some Joes sitting there that look a bit poor, fix them up. Bring them back to their glory. Because you've just seen how easy that was with a couple of $6.50 paints. I think this was part of a 6-pack that costs $8 or something at the Kaiser stores. And like, I'm literally using a sauce container from one of the takeaway joints just to hold my water. It's all easy. Get into it. All right, thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video. Yo Joe.